Hey, my name is Devin Raytouche and I'm a real estate agent in the East Bay. We just had the midterm elections here in 2018 and there are a lot of new measures that passed, some that didn't pass here in California. And so for today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the effect it's going to have on cities. Most of this is going to be city measures that focus on property, mostly property taxes. There are some with sales taxes and just things that affect people generally here in the East Bay. So let's start with Albany. Albany's Measure L voted to renew keeping the sales tax at 9.75%. Measure M was also passed in Albany. That's a $69 per unit tax. So if it's a single family house that you live in or have as a rental, or if you have a duplex or triplex, you'll have to pay for each individual unit $69, and that's to fund park and open space facilities. In Berkeley, Measure O passed, and what Measure O did is for every $100,000 in assessed property value, pretend the tax assessor has assessed your property at $1 million, you will have to pay $23 per $100,000 in order to fund affordable housing, and that's for teachers, that's for veterans, that's for disabled, and just generally vulnerable populations, funding low-income housing, that sort of thing. Measure P in Berkeley also passed. This was a measure that raised the city transfer tax for properties above $1.5 million. Before this, in the city of Berkeley, whenever you bought or sold a property, there was a city transfer tax of 1.5% no matter how much the property costs. This was typically split 50-50 between buyers and sellers. Now, for properties that are over $1.5 million, that transfer tax will increase to 2.5%. I'm guessing this will still work as split 50-50 between buyers and sellers, but in Berkeley, this is going to apply to a lot of homes and most investment properties as well. For Measure Q, the city of Berkeley was trying to essentially limit the exemption of rent control for new construction properties. They were trying to say that, okay, you can have 20 years after the certificate of occupancy is issued or the building is finished for those properties, but after that, then the property will be back under rent control. Though this measure passed, it was subject to the passing of Proposition 10 as well, so I don't believe this one will be able to take effect. In El Cerrito, Measure V passed. And what this did was, now El Cerrito, where it did not have a transfer tax before, it will have a 1.2% city transfer tax. When you buy or sell property, you'll be expected to pay half of this in the city of El Cerrito. Berkeley, Albany, Oakland, Richmond even, all these cities had transfer taxes before. Now you can add El Cerrito to that list. In Oakland, Measure W passed. What this was a measure to stop landlords from leaving properties vacant. Properties that are utilized for less than 50 days every year will now have a $6,000 a year charge for single-family homes and a $3,000 a year charge for condos. These funds are going to be used to address homelessness and affordable housing issues. In Oakland, Measure X passed. And what this is it's a restructuring of the transfer tax. For properties between $0 and $300,000, there's very few properties that fall into that range, those will be taxed at 1%. From $300,000 to $2 million, that will be taxed at the rate it was already taxed at, the 1.5%. When you go from $2 to $5 million, those will be taxed at 1.75%. Once you go above $5 million, those will be taxed at 2.5%. Measure H in Richmond made it so it's another structured or restructuring of the city transfer tax, where essentially up to $1 million, you're still going to have a 0.7% transfer tax when a property is bought or sold, which is, again, split 50-50 by buyer and seller. Once you get over $1 million and up to $3 million, so 1 to 3 million, that's 1.25%. 3 to 10 million, they're going to tax you 2.5%. And then once you get above 10 million, so this is big commercial properties, big pieces of land, probably some multifamily apartments, that is going to be a 3% transfer tax. Measure Y in Oakland also passed. This was a law to amend Measure EE to make it so duplexes and triplexes were exempt as long as they were owner occupied from Measure EE, the Just Cause for Eviction Ordinance. So essentially, if an owner lived in a unit, then he or she could evict the current tenants there for no good reason. Essentially, they could do it whatever if they wanted to get new people in there or whatever it was. And so now they are not allowed to do that anymore, and it also changes it so that Oakland can continue to change that law without an election where the voters decide. Overall, statewide, Measure 10, the Affordable Housing Act, or the repeal of Costa-Hawkins, did not pass. And so essentially it is still the case where in the state of California, all single family homes and condominiums are exempt from rent control. However, in East Bay cities that have rent control, such as Berkeley, such as Oakland, and now Richmond, they are not exempt from eviction control. So that's the rundown for the 2018 midterm election. There's still a lot more to this. When these laws take effect, when it's certified by the Secretary of State, and then kind of figured out by all the cities, that's still to be seen. Expect that most of these will go into effect sometime between the middle of December and early January. I couldn't get to everything in this video just because there's a lot to all of these laws and measures, but I'm going to try to include as much in the notes below on the YouTube page or at my website. But always feel free, if you have any questions about these things or need any references to attorneys, always feel free to reach out, give me a call. You can send me a text message or an email. I'm always happy to help.